Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Food Worth Forking. Listen, tonight I really made sure that you can hear me because last week we had that little faux in the beginning, but I am so glad that you're here. You can hear me. I can hopefully one day soon we'll get to see one another. But again, welcome to another episode of Food Worth Forking. I am your host, Laura Williams. If this is your first time watching or listening, welcome. Thank you for being here. And Food Worth Forking is all about food, dating, and lifestyle. So all things food. We're talking about dating tips, what you can do, what you shouldn't do. What have you been thinking about doing? And lifestyle, what's happening out here in this world of ours. So listen, tonight we are going to get started. Oh, and before we do, you know how this goes. If you have not, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel, like this episode, and ring that bell so you will always get the notification of new content. All right, so let's get started. Let's see what's happening. I see there's some comments here. What's going on? Oh, there's an echo. I'm not sure where that is coming from. And we kind of had this echo last week too, so I'm not sure, but hopefully it's not too bad. Let's see what we can work on as we go through the evening, but we're going to get started. And as you know, guess what? Listen, it's Wednesday, and it's also May 5th, which means it's Cinco de Mayo. Today is Cinco de Mayo. And we're going to do a little celebrating. We're going to toast. But also, as we celebrate, I don't know how many of us really know what we're celebrating or where it started, how it started. And I'm not even going to lie. I did not know the background, the history behind Cinco de Mayo. So I'm going to share that with you because I was interested. I need to be educated to make sure that I know what I'm doing and toasting to and celebrating. So let's share, right? So let me get pull something up here for you so you can see what is happening with this day and all this goodness here. You know what? I'm not sure. And maybe not. Maybe we won't do that. I'm just going to go ahead and talk about it. And hold on. Oh, never mind. Here we go. I see you. And there you go. So, Cinco de Mayo. So, as we know, Wednesday, today is Cinco de Mayo. But it's a holiday widely celebrated with Mexican-themed meals, as we know, in the United States. But many don't know why we commemorate May 5th each year. Cinco de Mayo celebrates the date of the Mexican army's victory over France at the Battle of Puebla during the Franco-Mexican War on May 5th, 1862. So according to the History Channel, it's also known as the Battle of Puebla Day. The History Channel says that the Battle of Puebla wasn't a major strategic win in the overall war against France, but Mexico's success in the clash represented a symbolic victory for the government, and it strengthened the resistance movement. A popular misconception is that Cinco de Mayo is equivalent to Independence Day in the United States. Mexico does have an Independence Day to acknowledge its freedom from Spain, but it's celebrated on September 16th. Cinco de Mayo is actually a relatively minor holiday in Mexico, with it primarily being observed in the state of Puebla. However, the holiday has evolved in the United States into a day of celebration and day celebrating Mexican culture and heritage, especially in parts of the country that has large Latino populations. Also, the food and drinks festivals and parades are held in some regions. In Texas, specifically, I would say that 10 times. In Texas, specifically, Cinco de Mayo remains a major part of the state's culture. And the United States celebration of the holiday began in California in 1863 as an expression of solidarity with Mexico against the French. So that's a little history on Cinco de Mayo. So in case you didn't know, now you know, right? We all need to know a little bit. Yes, yes. There we go. So we are going to keep this going. And as you know, we are doing a little celebrating here, but we have a guest tonight. I'm very excited that she's here because we are also going to talk PR. So we're going to talk a little Gauc, we're going to talk a little about margaritas, and we're going to talk about PR. And we have tonight Kimberly, we call her Kimberly Wilson Marshall from Wilson Marshall PR and Special Events. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about her, and then we're going to bring Kimberly on. So let's get into this, right? And here we go. So Kim Wilson Marshall is the director and founder of Wilson Marshall PR and Special Events, a boutique communications company providing partnership engagement, public relations, social media, and special event services for small to mid-sized businesses and nonprofit organizations. In 2020, Ms. Wilson Marshall introduced a new division, WM Experiences, providing services for hospitality and lifestyle clients, especially Black and Brown and/or women-owned or led companies. Ms. Wilson Marshall is a native New Yorker and has 20 years and counting of communication experience within the for-profit and nonprofit sector across New York City. Ms. Wilson Marshall is a graduate of the Fashion Institute Technology and attended Brooklyn College and Parsons School of Design. So she has done all these incredible, incredible things. She is the 2020 Trailblazer of the Year Award recipient from Harlem Fashion Week and so much more. And I'm going to bring her on and I'm going to let her tell you about her. She's a wife, she's a mom, she's passionate about being here in New York and the work that she's doing. And listen, and she's representing Harlem too, right? So everyone, let's welcome Kimberly to the podcast. Yes, yes.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, everyone. Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo. So glad you're here tonight.
Thank you. This is very different for me because I'm always behind the scenes sending you the guest.
Yes.
So I'm like, oh, do you want to talk to me?
I want to talk to you.
Thank you.
I want to talk to you. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So tell everyone a little bit, just a little bit about you.
Sure. So I think you said it all in the intro, which is like, sometimes when you hear things about yourself, you're like, but I already know these things. Is that me? Yeah, I do. I definitely would love to share a little bit, like starting in fashion first. And then funny enough, I've come full circle into lifestyle in this business. And, I started off wanting to be a fashion buyer. And yeah, that was what I originally signed up. That's why I went to Parsons. I was a design marketing major. And the goal was to graduate and become a fashion buyer for retail.
Okay.
And then I learned I was terrible at math. It's really, I had a tutor. I had to tell my son that recently. He said, "You had a tutor and still fail?" Yes. Yes, I did. So
The
yeah,
judgment.
had to change that major. And a few things happened. I transferred to the Fashion Institute of Technology, which was awesome, an awesome experience. And I had a class in public relations, which is what I studied under advertising and marketing communications when I attended.
Mhm.
And I said, oh, I knew a little bit about public relations, but really learned more. And I had to write a story about a public relations professional. So there are a lot of different books. And that's how I found the book that changed my life, The Personal Touch by Terry Williams.
Yeah.
And I said right there, I said, oh, I want to do this professionally and I need to change my major. Mind you, it was in the middle of the semester. I'm a very quirky Gemini. So I changed my major in the middle of the semester. And yeah, the rest has been history over these past 20 plus years. Hard to believe. So every career option that I've taken, all in some ways has always been rooted in communications.
Okay.
From the time I freelanced, special events, all of those things have been rooted in communications.
Awesome. Awesome. Such a great journey.
Yeah, it's been a great journey and the journey continues. COVID changed a lot of things for many of us and everyone. Yeah. So I continue the journey. I think communications will always be at the center of what I do as far as career.
Mhm.
But I know there's other things I want to do as I evolve, as I get older. And I look forward to those new things too. But I'll always have like a communications plan and, I'll be ready to, have all my pitches together for whatever it is that I'm doing. So.
Awesome. Well, listen, we're going to get started. And just to warm us up a little bit, I have I do this speed round and I'm going to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
Let's see how you do here.
Okay.
Well,
I'm ready.
Let's get this started. Okay, so pico de gallo or guacamole?
Guacamole.
Oh.
I'm heavy into anybody who knows me. I'm really heavy into avocado. Heavy. Love it. Love it.
Okay. See, I would have said both. I'd be like, oh, I don't, both, please. Text or phone call?
Text. I know. Old school me would have said phone call because I love to talk, right? And I'm in communications.
Yeah.
But funny enough, sometimes texting can be read different ways. I think of a personal nature,
Okay.
but in PR, and you can ask any of my PR professionals know, once you build relationships with different editors and media contacts,
Mm-hmm.
and you're cool enough with them and you have a phone number for them that you can text them on, trust me, they now prefer that. The talking on the phone is more, it's almost like an intimate thing. I don't know. But yeah,
I think
texting.
so. And I think that's probably for a lot of people though. I do. It's like if we're on the phone talking, this is a big deal. It's special.
Yeah, it's a personal.
Yeah, it's
you
very
must know
personal.
each other personally to get on the phone. Absolutely.
Yes. First celebrity crush.
No one would believe this. My first celebrity crush was Kurt Cameron. I've come a far way. Kurt Cameron. He was on a show called Growing Pains.
Yes.
And I just thought, yeah, right?
I remember.
Yeah, that was my first. Can I say who my current crush is? I have a lovely husband. He's very handsome. But my current crush, my current crush is still kind of Marshawn Lynch. I know, right? Random. Both are from California, but polar opposites.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It works though. All right. Who is your hero or shero?
Hmm. Ooh. Well, that's a hard one. Uh, like someone I really look up to and admire.
Can be, yeah.
Okay, I definitely would say in my field, in my career field,
Mm-hmm.
and personally as a woman and as a Black woman, it's Kathy Hughes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to meet her almost 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, at an event. I was with my clients for HH for Spoke Spirits, and she was coming out of the like ladies' room. We had these cool porta potties out in the Hamptons. I saw the back of her head, and I was like, "It's her," And I was like, "Do you follow her from the porta potty, or do you just mind your business?" And I just punked out. I know, right? I'm in media and I do all this stuff, but I punked out.
Well,
So
that's different because that's personal. That's that
yeah.
personal moment. That's like, oh, I've looked up to you
Oh, big
on my
time.
journey. Yeah.
Big
Yeah.
time to know her story and everything that she did to build what she's built and continues to build. And the fact, I think right now, I know there's this big project she's working on she's going into hospitality. She has this like hotel or something to that effect that she's looking for funding for. And yeah. So yeah, Kathy Hughes is my hero.
Nice. Nice. Okay. This one is a fill in the blank. Fill in the blank. Taylor Swift is.
Really talented. She's really talented. I wasn't going to do, God bless her soul, I wasn't going to do gowns, gowns.
Yeah.
No. Taylor Swift, right? So I have a 10-year-old son who's, keeps me abreast of like pop culture and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
I've admired Taylor Swift from like the age when she was like 14, 15 years old and started off in country because that's her roots.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, who's this little girl singing at the Grand Ole Opry, right? And then I realized she wrote her own music. And I find her immensely talented. And I also find her really empowering in a way.
Okay.
Yeah, because people have so much to say about her her dating style. And when I was a formerly single lady, yeah, I was about that life, like Taylor Swift. And I wish people, they talk really negatively about what she's doing. I'm like, she's dating different people. She's making the choice to date people who are also in the spotlight. And I think that's the big piece why people are so like, oh my God, every time we turn around, she's got a new man. But she's beautiful. She's in great shape. She's very talented. She plays multiple instruments. She makes her own money. She's helping her family. She's never gotten in any quote unquote trouble to herself or others. She's going out with different guys. Like, who doesn't want to look? Have you seen her roster of guys? It's not my cup of tea personally. However, that's what you're supposed to do at that time until you say, I'm ready to settle down. I'm ready to transition parts of myself. Be free and be single.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with it. I'm with that. All right. Last one is, what is your I never knew that moment?
I never knew that moment. Funny enough, there's so much I still don't know about our Asian brothers and sisters.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have been watching PBS. Well, I'm a heavy PBS. I'm a total PBS geek, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I'm a total PBS geek, and I'm just making sure I'm positioned right. Sorry, guys. I'm still. This is so foreign to me. You don't understand. I put my clients through a whole thing, so for me, this is like.
You're like, I'm doing this. Okay, great.
So. Yeah, I'm still learning so much about the history of different people from the continent of Asia and how they have found their place here in the United States and the different experiences that they've had over the years that has just been eye-opening and disturbing and sad and kind of similar to our, in some ways, to our Black experience. So yeah, that's, it's been a little intense, but a lot of things to learn.
Indeed. Get that. And that part is done.
Okay.
And we're going, and we're good. And with that, let's get into you. Let's really get into talking about what you do and why you do it. You come from the world of fashion. Well, at least that's where you started that journey. It's from fashion into now PR, and then more specifically, working and doing PR in the world of hospitality. How did that happen for you?
So a couple of things happened. I would say this is 2021, hard to believe, but about 6 years ago, going into 7 years ago, I actually had a client who had an event called New York African Restaurant Week. And I can't remember how we were referred to each other, but he told me about what he was doing. And I said, well, this is really kind of cool. It's really kind of interesting. I think people will go for it. And I've learned a lot about, African cuisine and cuisine from the diaspora and so forth. And he just put together this really great event, and he needed PR support. And it was a multi-layered event. And I came aboard and did all of this great PR coverage and met all of these great people. And I love the responses that I received from that sect of media. Not that, because different, depending upon what your subject matter is, what it is that your client does, there's different groups of media. And the culinary and hospitality media are always looking for new things. They're always looking for interesting things. Do they have a far way to go as far as making sure that there are shared voices, shared experiences from people of color, specifically from Black and Brown people? Absolutely. I think every industry is struggling with that. However, I love the way they responded. I said, oh, this is kind of cool. Note to self, this may be a more direction that I want to focus on. So I worked with him for about 2 years in a row. After that time, I was connected through my Harlem haberdashery clients that were just fashion, to their neighbors, which is Harlem Shake. And my Harlem Shake clients, it's so funny. The partner reached out to me like just before the holidays in the DM. And when they say it goes down in DM, I'm like, what goes down? I'm like, I got a client. Right? A lot goes down, apparently. I don't want to get into that. But so I connected with her and their team, and they said, here's what we're looking for. We had a PR firm. They did wonderful work, but we want someone with more community ties. We want someone who knows that culinary audience as well as other audiences and can be diverse. We want to have a diverse amount of press coverage for our restaurant and our brand as it grows. So I said, okay. I mean, I was super nervous when I took them on, of course, but I felt super confident, and I had stayed in contact with a lot of the culinary press and hospitality press from working on the African Food Festival, as well as working with Harlem Haberdashery, because they're a bit of a tourist attraction. And a lot of hospitality press and tourism, they kind of dance together. Those two media groups kind of dance together, which is great. So take on Harlem Shake, things start rolling. other clients kind of come my way. I worked with Cove Lounge. They were doing kind of a revamp, sort of. And so I worked with them, and they have such a great story. They are truly a Harlem legacy-based business, generations in Harlem. So they have a great story. So I was like, this is cool. And then my Harlem Haberdashery clients, they're like, oh, we have to have our meeting. We have a meeting there. There's always cocktails. I love it. It's great. And they go, so Kim, listen, we have this opportunity to have an expansion, a brand expansion. I go, okay. And they go into lifestyle. So the first thing I thought was, okay, they're going to do, home goods. They talked about that before. And then they go, well, we're going to go into spirits. And I went, like, that we drink? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, we got this opportunity and we want to do this. And I'm like, okay. So I said, at first I said, okay, do you need me to facilitate finding a consultant to handle the marketing and the PR? They were like, oh no, you got this. And I'm like, okay. Because that's another realm.
Yeah.
So that's a whole other realm, because there's trade publications, then there's straight to consumer. And I no doubt I was a little nervous, but I felt super confident again. And when we had the chance to go to Massachusetts, where the spirits were actually made. And that 1-day trip to Massachusetts, I realized the magnitude of what I had to do to help, launch the spirits. And, within 3 years now, the spirits will be 3 years old this November. They've won an award. They've been, everything from the New York Times to Forbes to Cuisine Noir to Essence many times over. I mean, it's unbelievable. They're on all of the top. Who are the top rums? Who's the top gin? Delish and all those great outlets have been so supportive. And that's always excites me. That excites me. So that's how I started making that foray into the culinary arts. And then it's just continued to grow.
Okay. Yeah, they're gin because, of course,
yeah,
they are now a friend of the podcast, and they've been here. And we made one of their signature cocktails, and
yes,
it's fantastic. So great work.
Yep. Thank you.
Great work.
Yeah. I say this, when you have great folks behind the story and you have great products, it works. It just works. I truly believe that, and most of my PR peers who are in the trenches, sometimes we get questionable people with questionable products.
Of course.
But most times when stuff is really excellent, it lands. It lands really well.
Nice. Do you find that it's difficult for, or maybe what the level of difficult, because we know there is a difference. And I think that as far as people of color, and especially Black people in this world, in the spirit world, we're seeing us more now.
Yes.
And reading about us more now.
Yes.
But the journey, I'm not convinced that the journey has gotten any easier. Even for, for yourself, or even for what I'm doing. It's definitely, it's a challenge, but it's great regardless. Yes. But what do you think, what is it in the background? How difficult is it to navigate on this road?
It's challenging.
For the client, for
the client, sure. So it's very challenging. It's very challenging. Because I think being a woman and being a Black woman, it's funny, I sat on a panel this weekend, just this past Sunday, and it was a beauty and fashion panel, but it's the same topic. I think that I have always gone into every single opportunity knowing that some of the people that I may be communicating with may think less of me because I am a woman and I'm Black.
Okay.
Right. So I come in kind of armed, if you will, with that. But then what I do is I lead with expertise. I lead with my professionalism. I lead with the fact that my clients are pristine and that they really, really work hard on presenting themselves beautifully and well. And I love being a part of that journey. So I always use the example of last year when we had the uprisings due to the murder of George Floyd, that we all had to, horribly watch over and over again due to being quarantined because of COVID.
Right.
And America had this shakeup. I call it a shakeup because true change takes time, and trust me and believe in media, it just was a shakeup. A lot of things are same as it ever was. I'll put it like that.
Okay.
So I always use what happened because there was a rush from media of, unfortunately, a lot of white guilt, where a lot of, publicists, solopreneurs, PR firms who were ignored or shuffled in the Black stuff or the Latino stuff or the Asian stuff file. Oh, they were clamoring. Oh, let me call her back. Oh, she is Black. Okay, let me talk to her. And this is what they did, right? So what does that mean? So that means my clients got a lot of love. I use an example of two of my lifestyle clients, HH Bespoke Spirits and Yellow Block Bed and Breakfast.
Yes.
So they both are excellent business people. They pride themselves on professionalism, and their branding is beautiful. Everything goes really well with both of those independent businesses. They're not partners anyway, but there were two different placements that were secured at that time, and they were included in two really high-profile outlets. And I posted on my Instagram page because I was really happy that they got these placements. But what I said was, listen, thank you for acknowledging them, but they've been excellent. Black people have been excellent. This is not new. This is not a fad.
Yeah.
We have done this. We have been there. We continue to be there. When you have a culture, an industry that's bringing in trillions of dollars, guess who they look at, right? So I say all that to say, how do we trickle that down into the rooms of editors and producers and so forth? Well, if we don't have enough of us in those rooms, the stories don't get told.
Yeah.
They don't get covered. And then I also always take in consideration the Black and brown and Asian folks who are in the room, because now they're like, how do I manage this? I want to get this story through. It's not Black History Month. What's the angle? What angle can I use? So I pride myself on making sure that my clients have stories that can get placements all year round. You can't run a business living off of Black History Month, Hispanic History Month, and now what do we have? Juneteenth. Yeah. Right. An MLK weekend.
Yeah.
So you just can't. You can't. So I really pride myself on creating opportunities for great stories featuring great people doing great things. But it's challenging. It's very challenging. And a lot of my peers definitely are in the same boat.
Okay. I get it.
Yeah.
Well, listen, you all are you, and your clients are stellar, and you're doing it. So
thank you.
Yeah, no, really, and keep going.
Thank you.
Keep going and keep going. And because people know that, you are behind a lot of this, and you work with great clients, and then, that is also a reflection of you and vice versa. So that means people are definitely looking at you and seeking to, be on your, to be under your umbrella. What are some of the determining factors for you to work with, or to add on, or to bring on other clients in
Sure.
hospitality or lifestyle? Because, Maybe you have the right, you see someone, just because someone comes knocking doesn't mean you answer.
Correct. So I'm glad you mentioned that. One of the things that definitely happened for me in 2020 due to COVID was I knew people needed services, but people who have small businesses, sometimes they have nonprofits, but mostly the for-profit folks, they're literally trying to keep the lights on. They're trying to make payroll, pay taxes, and just keep a staff, right? So sometimes communications gets cut or gets reduced or doesn't get any time, any love. So I said to myself, I need to kind of think about ways to serve folks. So there are two things I did. I added 2 new services to my business. I decided to have a really condensed 3-month, 90-day PR package that is for the client who may not be ready to commit financially or with content to a monthly retainer that would be 6 months, a year, or more. And the other service that I'm super excited about is PR Ready with Kim Wilson Marshall. So I do one-on-one consultations with folks. They can book it with me. They book it through my website, and they tell me about what they're doing. And I talk to them, it's like a nominal fee. I talk to them for an hour. I ask them questions. And from that assessment, sometimes they don't need public relations. Sometimes they need social media. Sometimes they may just need a blog. Maybe they just need a website. Maybe they just need a photo shoot. There's so many things. And one of the things that I think we all learned last year was, what does a small business do? Small businesses do a lot.
They sure do.
Honest, and kudos, it's National Small Business Week or month. I think it's Small Business Month. I'm not sure. Yeah. But they do a lot, and they encompass a lot, and they employ a lot of people, and they all have different kinds of stories to tell, right? Yeah. So because of that, there's different ways to tell the story about a small business. Everyone may not need the same thing. Everyone's infrastructure may not be built enough to roll out the content, to have stories, to have good spokespeople. There's a lot of variables involved. So PR Ready with me is really to talk through with folks, to let them know before you make a fiscal commitment and not be prepared, and then feel sad because the outcomes didn't work out. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a wonderful 1-hour nominal fee conversation about how to get yourself ready for that great PR agency, social media agency, or anyone else who can help you with communications before you spend big money and then you're disappointed because little things like you don't have, high resolution photos. You don't know what a high-res photo is. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I get to that level with folks because I think we assume because we're in this click age and everyone's on social media, you should know everything. But that's not how most people go into small business. If you make beer, your thing is about making beer. If you make shoes, your thing is about making shoes. That's your passion. Learning how to use TikTok. Learning how to write a press release and reach media and send out news alerts. Learning, there's just so many facets.
There's so many facets. So many
layers. And imagine
do them all.
Yeah, and imagine trying to do those layers and maintain a staff, make payroll, deal with all kinds of issues, especially within hospitality businesses, the bars, the restaurants, hotels, God bless them. It's different for most hotels, the big brands, because they have machines, they have staff that handle everything for them. But if you are a small boutique hotel or a bed and breakfast, you don't have that. So what ends up happening is they rely on the third-party vendors. So that's, our friends at Airbnb or Vrbo or Evolve Rentals, people like that, they rely on them, but you can't rely on that. You got to tell me a story. I should see photos. I should see people enjoying themselves at your place so I can have a connection, because that's what it's about. It's the same thing with restaurants, you know?
It is. It is. So how do you navigate? I'm a little distracted at the moment because I forgot to plug my laptop in. How do you navigate this world, and just with you being a PR person, and I'm sure you are one of the few. So how does this work for you on this journey?
So still in this journey, I'm glad that I'm affiliated with certain great groups of people. And I think that that's been really helpful for leads, for new clients. Sometimes it's just good old referrals, you know, someone sees the work I've done for another client or the work I am currently doing, and then they reach out and they go, "Ooh, yeah, let's talk. I want to do this. I want to do that." So going back to your question before, deciphering who's a good client, right now for me, it starts with the PR ready conversation. And then they might, because they might not need me, and I'm okay with that. They may need a social media agency. They may need to get their collateral together. They may be at a place where they are ready to do advertising. You know, so for me, the ideal client is definitely someone in lifestyle as far as culinary. So it may be another restaurant. It may be someone who's in culinary in a non-traditional way. Like my clients eat okra, right? They have an app, you know, they cook at home, right? But they're not chefs, they're not restaurateurs, but they're into technology. And let's just be honest, 2020 highlighted how much we rely on technology to eat.
Yes.
Right?
There's so many other things.
On so many other things. And restaurant industry took a tremendous hit. They're still coming back. Yes, the third party delivery services, they have their system. Sometimes the system works, sometimes it doesn't work. However, for so many restaurants, that was their lifeline. Having that third party delivery kept their doors open. Or transition how they did their business. So we see the rise of the ghost kitchens, we see, you know, food trucks, all of these things. And, you know, again, I think like they're like a super interesting client, because I'm not just, you know, securing culinary stories for them. I'm securing like tech stories. I'm securing, what is it like to work as a husband and wife? You know, the husband is a veteran, whole nother angle. So I love clients like that. I love clients with like endless story opportunities and, hey, let's try them here. Let's try that here. This sounds cool. That is exciting for me.
Awesome.
So yeah, those are the kinds of folks I love. And I will say, working with H Bespoke Spirits and the kind of, you know, fanfare that they've gotten, I right now would love another spirit client. That would be amazing. You know, you mentioned something earlier about the rise of seeing more Black and brown people in spirits. But, you know, to be honest, it's a lot of our celebrities who are backing there, right? So, not to be too controversial, but if you know certain celebrities and some of those celebrities already have PR, the PR that they have, chances are don't look like you or I.
Yeah.
So guess what? The PR that they're going to get for PR person or agency behind the brand of their spirit won't look like us either. That's an internal conversation that Black and brown people need to have about making sure that all of the story is told, and getting out of our heads that, oh, you know, I'm Black, you're Black, Are you going to be able to really secure coverage? Okay, thank you for the insult. You know,
Yeah.
that's how I take that.
Yeah.
Because it's insulting to assume because I happen to be Black, I can't secure the same level of coverage as my white peer, right? Yeah. And so that's a big thing, because here's what ends up happening. That awesome Black brand with that Black ambassador or Latino ambassador, right? Who doesn't have anybody on their team that looks like that person, guess what they're going to do? They're not going to contact any Black or brown media. Zero. And in this climate, what happens now is they get called out for that. Then that celebrity will say, well, why haven't you talked to Essence? Or why haven't I done Black Enterprise? Well, what? Who's that? I don't know those people. I don't have contacts there. Right? So this is a conversation.
Yeah.
And it's a deep conversation to have. I won't name the business, but there's a business and they're in Harlem. And, you know, she was very polite. She said, Kim, I see the work you're doing and it's dope. And I said, well thanks. Okay. She's like, but there was no way, we being Black owned up, we were going to go and have a Black publicist. That wasn't going to work. What can I do? Right? So when your own people are telling you, you know, so for me, I am not fixated on only representing businesses with owners who look like myself.
Yeah.
Also super interested in a lot of the women-owned businesses, of women of all complexions, because again, the stories are endless and opportunities are great. So I realized that I can't rely just on my own people, because sometimes my own people don't want me, right?
Yeah.
And in the field of public relations, it is a very intense job in which you deal with so much rejection. So you have to pick and choose where you put your energy. Yeah. So for me, I don't put all of my energy with only my own people. I want to represent good people. I want to represent professional people. I want to represent people who have great products and great service. That's what matters. If they so happen to be Black, awesome. If they so happen to be Latino, awesome. If they so happen to be Asian, awesome. If they so happen to be Caucasian, awesome. I'm really about what it is that you do and how it connects with people. That's what matters to me.
Where's my glass? Where's your glass?
Oh my goodness, here.
Look, we have to listen, hold on, let me get it.
Am I here? Am I cheering?
And we are cheering to that. Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kim, for sharing your story, your journey, what's happening with you. I'm hoping that you're going to hang out with me a little bit longer, and we'll
sure thing.
Let's get into this next segment.
Okay.
Because that was pretty awesome.
Oh, thank you. I want people to know, like, public relations is a real thing. Communications is a real thing. We are truly living in a time where there is so much public relations going on around us. We are in it. You know, when they talk about the Matrix, surprise, it's a publicist behind there making things happen. So it really, really is. So I tell people all the time, like, to the point, like, even in my little circle of friends, there was a recent situation with some celebrities, and they were like, that was a PR stunt. And I'm like, how y'all know that? And they're like, you say this all the time, you know? So it is a lot of PR stunting going on. But yeah, so I'm ready.
All right. So we're about to get into this week at Delicious Bites. It's all about the margarita.
Yes.
It's all about the margarita. And I will have to say, there was a whole little production here for the margarita, but the issue, we were hearing this loud echo in the beginning of the podcast, and it actually just shut off. So that camera in that angle is gone. So that is okay, because what I will do is I will post it in the next day or two, so everyone can see this margarita bar that I created.
Yeah.
So I will tell you about it. And so just for your next party that you have, and because it's still, listen, we're still in a pandemic, it's COVID. You may not want to make a lot of, you may have small gatherings and you don't want to make individual drinks. But what you can do by creating a margarita bar is think of 3, juices that you can make. So example, you have your classic, right? We already know that's your lime juice. So you have that. Then you have, I decided I was going to do a mango. So there's a mango juice.
One of my favorites. Yes.
I love a mango margarita. And then there is the pomegranate juice.
Yes.
And a pomegranate.
Yes.
Margarita. So you get like 3 crafts and you put those juices in there, and people can make their own and add their tequila, add their Cointreau, add the simple syrup. I like to use agave. I'm kind of stuck on that now. I like it.
Yeah.
And then
absolutely.
You can do a well, you can't see it here because I'm on my computer, but I made a salt and chili pepper, excuse me.
Oh, yes, I've had that.
Yep, so you can do that.
It is a thing. It is a thing.
It is very much a thing, and it's quite lovely. And then I made, you can also do a chili pepper with sugar and salt. So it's just a little, the salt, the spicy, the sweet. You do your rim that way. So I'm gonna hook you guys up, and I'm gonna do that in the next day or two, and it'll be up, and you can see exactly what I created here.
Awesome. Where would you say, I just want to ask a question.
You can ask me a question. Yeah.
When you mentioned those margaritas, I had a flashback because I think in our pre-interview, this is only my second dry Cinco de Mayo in my whole life as an adult drinking. The only other reason I'm doing like a detox right now, so it's the only reason why I'm not drinking tonight. And the second reason why I never had a dry one was I was pregnant with my son, Mandela, who's going to be 11 next month, right? But it flashed me back to a place on the Bowery that I used to go to with my girlfriend Nadine, my sister friend Nadine, and it was Cuban, but they made these amazing margaritas. And they made mango and pomegranate, and they would do like these $5 specials, and we would get sloshed. And then, we literally, Cinco de Mayo, May 6th, we would be calling out of work back in the old days. We just couldn't function. I mean, and it's so funny being in New York, and I mention a place, and then I'm like, it's not there. It's not there anymore.
And that happens a lot here.
It's so hard. And this with COVID, it's a little challenging, but yes. Yeah. I've had some amazing margaritas.
Hey, well, these are 2. I mean, listen, this is a classic one. Yeah. With the rim that I spoke of. And then that's a mango. And that's just one of my favorites. And I didn't even realize as I look at my Instagram page how many margaritas are on it.
Well,
I didn't realize that, and then I was like, "Oh, you've got margaritas all over this page." So,
margaritas are great. It's a great drink that really celebrates tequila in a way. Yeah, because when you think about tequila, usually it's doing shots. Yeah. I'm a Reform Party girl. Trust me, I know.
Well, since we've touched on the margarita, we're going to do a little in between the bites, and I just want to talk about what is happening? Did you know that Delish, because you mentioned Delish earlier,
Mhm.
that they now have a quarterly publication? Out
No.
of
Ooh.
all of the stuff, I've been following Delish on,
Mm.
online, Instagram,
Yep.
Facebook. They
Yep.
have amazing videos that just pull you in, and they have great
Absolutely.
content. And so now Delish is doing a quarterly publication,
Nice.
and
This is awesome.
it's full of all kind of goodies. So the first one, I believe, is out already. So if you are a Delish fan, check it out.
Mm.
I just thought it was just a really cool,
Yeah.
cool find.
And I'm super happy to see them do this because last year when COVID hit, so many publications, print publications, they took a major hit.
Yeah,
So everyone has to revamp. Everyone has to pivot. That was my 2020 word. And it's carrying over to 2021. You have to pivot. You have to come up with creative ways. And this is really cool. This is great.
it is. It is. And another thing that I found this week, which was interesting, is what's trending. What is trending right now in 2021 in the food world? And one thing that people are doing is they're doing healthy-ish cocktails. People are doing more mocktails.
Yeah. It's funny you bring that up.
Mocktails are becoming more of a
Yes.
thing. Before the pandemic, it was like, they were hard to find. You would
Yes.
have some restaurants, and I just appreciated restaurants that had at least 3 or 4 mocktails on their
Mm-hmm.
menu, because not everyone drinks alcohol.
Right.
But now it is becoming a thing. Like, you are finding more and more restaurants and even recipes online. People are
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
talking about mocktails, and that number is when you'd see maybe 10 or 20%, not even
Yeah.
that much probably, of people talking
Yeah.
about mocktails. It's up by 320% of hearing and seeing about mocktails and
Yeah.
healthy-ish cocktails.
Yes. And there's some really cool brands that just come to my mind. HH Spoke, we did something for Women's History Month with Avec Drinks. And so they have their mixers, and their whole thing is they don't want to have all the sugar, right? So
Yeah.
traditionally when we get a mixed drink, it's lots of sugar, plus the alcohol has sugar. And that's where the healthiest, component comes in, because everyone's trying to monitor how much sugar intake, how are we balancing this. So they have great mixers, and they're a co-Black owned brand, really
Okay.
cool. And there's another brand called Seedlip. I want to say Seedlip is a woman.
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Seedlip has been ahead of the game within that whole mocktail world for a while. Pre-COVID, there was a place, I want to say in the Lower East Side, and all they did was mocktails. It was a bar. It was a bar.
Ooh.
Let's say they opened up like midsummer 2019. They had really great press coverage. And, but COVID, I'm not sure if they're still open.
Well, that's something that we'll have to
Yeah, because
discover,
yeah,
or rediscover, or discover for me.
yeah, they're cool though.
Yeah. Another thing is, more and more people are doing virtual cooking classes. They're not going anywhere. During COVID, or during the beginning of this pandemic, it was like, oh, well, let's cook at home. But
Right.
more and more virtual cooking classes are popping up, and they're cooking classes for different regions. So you're also learning to cook ethnic foods, or foods you never thought about before.
Right.
It's like traveling the world in your kitchen.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
Good
See,
stuff.
I think that's good. I think it's good to expand. I think that people will get back slowly to restaurants and explore. But I will say, one of the things that happened out of COVID and the pandemic was explore your neighborhood. And
Yeah.
if you live, right?
Yeah.
And if you live in a neighborhood where you can't explore, you need to think about moving, because this pandemic was no joke. Like, how many nights can you have pizza? No disrespect to the pizza people. Because if you look at the business, right? They didn't take a hit. Look at all the pizzerias. Not many are closed, if any.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think cooking at home is awesome. I think the cocktail making at home is really still a cool thing that people are doing. They love it. They love these cocktail kits. Cocktail kits is its own segment now.
Yeah.
And those boards. You know what I'm talking about? The charcuterie boards.
Charcuterie boards. I love them. I just think they're gorgeous.
They're beautiful.
I love them. I love them. I love them. Yeah. And yes, people are always either, I have two like small ones because I don't need a big board, but I like to figure out what I want to put on them if I want to use it. Or two people, do you really need a large board? Just have a small one and make it pretty. It's still pretty. So
yeah,
so
that's a lot.
Kim, guess what we're about to do?
Okay, what?
We're about to get into smash or pass.
I'm so ready for this.
Let me tell you. This is what we're about to do. We're about to get into this tonight.
Okay. I'm ready.
So you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. And we're up. So let me tell you about this. I was like, hold on. This right here is fried avocado fish tacos. So we have shredded fish, a fried avocado wedge, shredded red cabbage, cilantro, and chipotle sauce. I'm smashing.
I'm smashing as well. That looks fabulous. I took a pause. I said, that's avocado in there. Yeah. I'm smashing. That's awesome.
Oh my goodness. I'm smashing.
Yeah, I'm smashing.
I don't know if you all are still with us out here, but go ahead and put in the comments if you're going to smash. If you would smash. Or would you pass?
God. Yeah, I would smash that. That's awesome.
Every day. Yeah. I'll be like, I'm about that. Every day.
Beautiful.
Jason says smash. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. That's what's going down.
Passing Verna, no. Is it the Verna? Is it the fried avocado? Is that what it is?
I don't even understand, Verna, because this is like it's out. Wait, yeah, it's avocado. It's fish.
But it's fried.
It's fried,
and maybe that's why Verna says no.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
I think it might be that. Yep, it was the fried. I understand, Verna. Sometimes people, the relationship with food and fruit should just be a natural. She said it's not guac. I understand. So that frying component can throw people off, everyone's not with it. They're not with it. Yeah, but I would still smash.
I'm smashing. I am. And here we go.
Okay. What is this? Good. She's like, yes, I want to hear what it is.
I probably, because these are all, Mexican dishes. So I probably am going to pronounce this wrong. So this is lemon Carlota, C-A-R-L-O-T-A, Carlota.
Okay.
And it's made with multiple layers of vanilla flavored cookies. You got me right there. Covered in a sweet sauce and is then frozen for a couple of hours to create. Somebody. Yeah.
Okay.
I am smashing. Go ahead.
Okay.
What you gonna do, Kim? What you gonna do?
Old Kim pre-April 2020 would probably have said smash. But Kim in April 2020 learned that she was allergic to lemon.
What?
I am allergic to lemon, sadly. So I would have to pass. And there's definitely some dairy in here. And I am a non-dairy person. I love it. He's like, then I'm eating Verna's portion. I'm a non-dairy person, but I love this concept. This is basically To me, this is a icebox cake, right?
Oh
It's like
yeah,
yeah, and I
yeah.
think that creamy portion is the dulce, you know, that dulce
Those are
kind of
yeah.
sweet. I
Mhm.
think that's what it may be. So yeah, but I would have to pass because of the lemon and the dairy.
All right, y'all. Okay.
Yeah, that lemon. Yeah, this getting older. Everything is just things start changing.
It
So that
happens.
lemon threw me. Yeah.
Mhm. And here we go.
Okay.
Our last one here. All right.
Ah,
Do you know what this is?
I think I do with that soup,
Yes,
but I'm not sure if
it
it
is
has
that
chicken.
too. It does have chicken. And hold on. Let me do this correctly. So and I'm probably going to enunciate this wrong too. It's a salsa verde soup
Yeah.
served in a traditional ceramic pozzola
Mm,
dish,
mm.
right? With shredded chicken, lettuce, radishes, chopped onion, avocado, oregano, and lime juice.
Beautiful.
It's very
I If I could have it without the chicken, because I also am vegetarian. I know,
okay. That's
I
fine.
know. So I just want to say this, right? So I am really super proud of my abilities because I represent brands like restaurants that are all about pork and beef and chicken and dairy.
Mhm.
But I've been vegetarian for like 20 something years. Okay, if I could remove the chicken, I would so love this.
All
I
right.
love it. I love fresh radish. It has such a bite to it.
It's
It's busy though. It's a busy soup. It's a busy soup.
it's a busy soup. Vernon says she's passing. Jason, I'm with Jason. I would smash. I would definitely try it. I would
Yeah.
definitely try it because it just looks amazing.
Yeah,
It really does. I was like, oh,
it does.
that's just pretty.
Yeah, it's
Pretty.
beautiful. It's beautiful. Mexican cuisine to me is so, oh gosh, it's so beautiful.
One of my
when I've
favorites.
been to, it is mine as well. When I went to Arizona to Phoenix, like every day, California every day, like I could live off of that cuisine pretty much. It's based in proteins if you really get to the root of it,
Yeah.
and grains. So
I can get
yeah.
with that. I can get with that. Well, now we're going to get into this sensual food fact. Sensual food fact. Now,
Okay.
this is a familiar one. We are going to revisit because hey, it's Cinco de Mayo and it is the chili pepper.
Interesting.
It is the chili pepper. And if heat is synonymous with passion, then chili peppers are certainly an aphrodisiac. Chili peppers contain the chemical capsaicin,
Hmm.
which generates
Capsaicin.
crap. Thank you,
Yeah.
capsaicin,
Yeah. Yeah.
capsaicin, which generates the heat they give off. The hotter the
Hmm.
pepper, the more capsaicin it contains. Capsaicin is known to boost testosterone levels and increase libido.
Interesting.
That
Yeah.
is the chili pepper.
Okay.
And there you have it.
Awesome.
There you have it. That is food worth working.
Awesome.
So, Kim, tell everyone here where can they find you, how,
Sure.
all that good stuff.
Sure. So first, feel free to follow me at Wilson Marshall, um, pretty much on all platforms, on IG, on Twitter, and also visit my website, wilsonmarshallpr.com, especially if you yourself have a small business or a nonprofit and you definitely want to kind of get the word out there, but you're not sure of what tools that you want to use. Do you want to do public relations? Do you want to do social media? Do you want to plan virtual events? What does that look like? How do you do it? definitely reach out to me. I'm super happy to speak with people, and I'm booking appointments, so that's great. And yeah, those are like all the main ways for people to reach me. And I just wanted to definitely thank you so much, Laura, for having me as a guest. And I wanted to definitely say thank you to some of our, earlier you asked me something about how do I get leads and things like that. So the community that's been super supportive of me has definitely been Women in Hospitality, which I'm a member of. We're like a growing group of women of all ethnicities all across the United States and abroad who all work in different facets of hospitality. They're amazing. A member there. My friends over at Black Food Folks, Colleen and Clay, they've been wonderful to me and super supportive. While I have this moment, I definitely want to say thank you to like Dawn Padmore, who I met through Harlem Eat Up, and Keisha Harris, who are really, really been supportive as well. And I want to say a special thank you to the person who is the way we connected.
Yay!
Which is Kimberly Knox. And just say, yes, definitely say a big thank you to her for connecting us. Yes. And yeah, just a super big thank you to her. But yeah, those are some of the people who've been very helpful, very supportive, and all of my influencer folks who've just been amazing. I mean, really amazing. And if you are in the culinary space, if you are in hospitality space, please understand that social media is a form of media. Bloggers, podcasts, influencers, follow them, respect them, give them their flowers, because while we're waiting on our beautiful friends over at traditional media to pick us up, to give us coverage, to give us love, guess what? We're in line with hundreds of other people where that influencer can come in and really give you love. So yeah, I just want to say thank you so much to all those folks.
Well, awesome. And I have to say thank you, Kimberly, because since we met, you've always been supportive, helpful, and I appreciate that.
Of course.
I really do. You have always answered my call.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it.
Of course. This is a relationship-based business. It really, really is. So nice. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. So listen, everyone, thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sticking it out. I know we're a little over time tonight, but you're hanging in there, and thank you so much. Again, please follow Food Worth Forking on all social media platforms. Is at Food Worth Forking. Here on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like, and hit that bell. Listen to the podcast on wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Again, thank you for being here. And Kim, hang out for a second. And everyone, have a great night. And until we eat again, make it food worth forking. Have a good night.
Good night.